Enchanted Misty Vale by Jessica Fetter, Chapter 3. How long does it take someone to pack up their life? Well, in my case, it took 3 weeks. That's it. After losing my job, I notified my landlord, changed bank accounts, packed up 10 years of my life, and headed home. Home. I haven't been home in 10 years, except for a few new traffic lights. It looks like it's the same sleepy town I left when I was 22. After high school, I commuted to community college for 6 months before deciding it wasn't for me. I worked as a cashier before moving to the big city for an entry-level secretary job. Just outside of town, I pull up to my childhood home. Mixed feelings arise as I stare at the one-story, 3-bedroom home I grew up in. Well, where I slept as a child. I tried my best not to spend more time there than needed. The memories are cloudy and dark, the light part of my past being a mile down the road. I decided to wait to go to Elena's until after I met Sheila and Mr. Williamson. Snapping me out of my thoughts, tapping on my window is my dear mother. Here we go. Patty, short for Patricia, is barely 5 foot tall with light salt and pepper hair. Curly and wrinkles, everything she's been through in her 54 years of life. She waves at me to hurry up and get out of the car. It's my baby girl, she crooned as she wrapped me in a hug. Awkwardly returning the hug, I'm ushered inside to sit at the kitchen table. Even the inside of the house looks the same, down to the dingy sunflower placemats on the table. As I sit there looking around while she fills me in on the latest gossip from the diner she still works out, and all the memories come flooding back, struggling with school, friends, and fights with my younger half-siblings. Tris, are you even listening to a word I say? She asks. I'm sorry, Mom. It was a long drive, and I still need to check into the hotel for the night. Why don't you just stay here? She asks. What do I say to not hurt her feelings? Do you not want to sleep in your childhood room because it brings back your childhood? I mean, what do you say? I decide I don't want to impose. Plus, I'll be staying at Elena's after I see Mr. Williamson tomorrow. I get up to excuse myself and head to the hotel. Well, more like a motel, considering the size and the fact that there's only 5 rooms. I spent one summer working as a check-in clerk here for the family that owns it. Well, okay, but don't be a stranger. Stop by when you've gotten settled, she says. Mr. Williamson's office is nestled in the heart of Main Street. Main Street looks like it has for decades. Maple trees adorn those sidewalks and shade every 100 feet. There's a consignment shop, grocery store, and hardware store. Mr. Williamson sits behind an antique desk covered in papers. He squints at me behind wire-framed glasses. So, Tris, you mentioned you had a letter from Elena to show me? I do, I reply, as I slide the paper to him. Elena mentioned leaving things with you so I could take care of her property. Sheila called, said she was missing, and wanted to know if I knew where she was. What do you know about all this? I ask. Tom straightened in his chair. I assure you I have no idea why she would disappear, only that she was worried about the animals and wanted to appoint someone she trusted. I was instructed to give you this envelope if you came to me with a letter. He pulled out a large manila folder. This has everything in it. To put the cottage, the land, the accounts in your name. I have already started the process. There are also 2 keys, one for the cottage and one to a bank deposit box. He slides everything over to me with an expectant look. I take everything and looked at the letter I received just weeks ago. Sheila's gonna want to see that letter, I say. Tom nods. Of course, let me just make a copy to put in the file to show I did everything as instructed. It takes a few minutes and then I head back out and head down the block to the police station, still slightly shocked by the conversation with Tom. The police station is just down the block and looks like it's straight out of an old movie, down to the pillar lights on each side of the walkway of the steps. When I hit the doorway, Sheila spotted me coming in and waved me back to her office. "Girl, you are a sight for sore eyes," she calls. Last time I saw her was 10 years ago, too. Her skin is a beautiful dark caramel, and she has straight black hair pulled back in a bun. She looks the same, well, except for the gray at her temples, probably a hazard from her job and long work hours. She's 5 inches taller than me, with a clean complexion and brown hair tied back. She motions me to sit as she heads behind her desk. "How have you been?" she asks. "Oh, good until the last month. Let's see. I get a random letter, missed calls, lost my job for 10 years, and had to come home." "Have you seen your mom yet?" Sheila asks. "Yes, and it was such a nice visit," I answer as I roll my eyes at her. Okay. We won't get into things with your mom right now. We have bigger things to discuss. Did you happen to bring that letter with you?" "I did. Here it is." Tom Williamson kept a copy for his files, too. I don't know if that helps or hurts to know, but... "Oh, that's not a problem," she says as she reads it over. "Huh, just as you said. Kind of vague." "You really don't know what she's talking about?" "Honestly, I have no clue. I hope there's a clue at either the cottage or the bank deposit box Tom told me about." "A bank deposit box? Do you mind if I go with you to the bank to check it out?" "Of course you can come. I was going to head there next," I say. "Okay. Let me grab a copy of this letter and for you, because unfortunately I'm going to need to put the original and the missing report under evidence. I hope that's not a problem." Sheila looks at me expectantly. "No, I completely understand," I reply. 10 minutes later, we head out on the block to the town's only bank. After inquiring about the key, we're instructed to wait for the manager. He, too, needed to see the letter in question. After some tedious paperwork, we were led to the back room with a single table in the center. The manager, Rodney, pulls out the box and left us with the key. I look at Sheila, a weird anticipation like something big is coming, and it's coming with a turn of a key.